Good evening. So we are back online with our discussion panel of several students and now not only high school students, but also university students. And we are here so we can talk a little about opportunities opportunities and activities what you can do during your studies at high school. So I'm really pleased that I can welcome here several of my colleagues. So I'm not sure in which order you see them, but I will start with Daniela. So Daniela, welcome, and can you introduce, or maybe we can just do a quick round. So here is Daniela Pitnerova from FYKOS and also student of Charles University in Prague. Then there is Veronika Hendrichova, also organizer of FYKOS and a student of Charles University in Prague. I'm sorry, of Faculty of Veronika, please help me because I'm not sure about the faculty, but
it's the Faculty of Nuclear Sciences and Physical Engineering.
And
the Czech Technical University.
Technical University. Yeah. So we are not only here just from Charles University, but as well from Technical University, Czech Technical University. Then there is William Hakala, PhD student at Jülich Institute, and also University of Aachen. Am I correct? Right. Thank you. So welcome.
Welcome.
There is also Josef Lipták, student of Charles University in Prague and organizer of FYKOS. Welcome, Josef. And because we are talking about high school students and high school activities, I'm pleased that I can also welcome here Marco Souza de Jode, who is a student at grammar school in Prague. Maybe you can also mention the name. So welcome, Marco.
Hi. Should I mention the name? It's not Stro. It's a grammar school in Prague.
For our Czech listeners, maybe you are interested in also the names of the universities. Well, at first we should introduce ourselves a little. So, you know what background we are from and why we are talking about opportunities during studying at high school. So maybe we will start with Daniela. So Daniela, please introduce yourself a little.
Yes. Good evening. So I'm Daniela Pitnerova. I studied at high school in East Slovakia, and now I'm studying at Charles University, my master's studies. I'm in the first year of my master's studies. I'm studying physics of surfaces and plasma science, and I'm studying more precisely the nanoparticles and their bioapplications. Should I tell a bit more about myself or about competitions?
Yeah, I think you can mention some competition and activities which you did or at high school.
Yeah. So I started to do a lot of Olympiads and competitions and so on at my elementary school, and I continued with it during my high school studies. I tried a lot of competitions from various fields. It's like history and languages, but I was better in natural sciences and so on, like chemistry, mathematics, and physics. So I liked physics, and I had a very good teacher at my high school. So I participated in a physics Olympiad for 6 years, and it took me a lot of time, but it was very important for me, and I learned a lot thanks to it. I also did a mathematics Olympiad, but I found out that it's not that subject I want to study. So I did it in only 2 years during my high school. And at the beginning of high school, I started to do correspondence seminar, or 2 seminars. It's FYKOS and FKS, which is something like FYKOS in Slovakia. I preferred FYKOS because of the concept of the problems and so on. And FYKOS learned me also a lot. My teacher thought that it's better to concentrate just on the physics Olympiad because he wanted me to be good in it. But I tried to persuade him that it's good to do FYKOS and solve various problems we in FYKOS have. And after some time, I'm talking about years, not months, he realized that it's really a good opportunity for people to find more. And me personally, I really enjoyed my first physics camp of FYKOS. I realized that, well, yeah, I'm good at physics, but there are a lot of people better, and I have a lot of space to improve myself. So it gave me a lot, and I got to know a lot of people, which helped me to decide at what university I want to go and what I want to do. And it really helped me during the university that I am here with the friends I already knew. So it was very helpful for me. And yeah, well, I think thanks to FYKOS, I also visited CERN and other research institutes in Europe. And it was very interesting opportunity, which I am very grateful for. Yeah, well, that's, I would say, all to the competitions I tried or I participated in during my high school studies. And yeah, well, I think that's all.
Thank you for your introduction, and also for mentioning your path to studying the physics. So, Veronica, you're still in your first year at the university. So now tell us a bit more about your high school studies, and then how did you decided to go to study at Czech Technical University?
So hello again. My name is Veronika Hendrichova, and as we already mentioned, I study at the Faculty of Nuclear Sciences and Physical Engineering in Czech Technical University. During my high school study, I studied at the grammar school in Turnov, which is in Czech Republic. And about the competitions and so on, well, during the study, I became interested in physics contests, of course, but also some programming competitions, correspondence seminar and experience camps and so on. And as Danka also mentioned, I also enjoyed competitions in other fields like languages and so on. Why did I decide to study on the university? Well, I was deciding between the Charles University and the university I currently study at, and it was hard to decide, but in the end, I thought that I would just try it and see what is it like, and I can well change the university after the first year on, or maybe even the first how is it called semester. And now I'm happy that I'm there and I'm enjoying the study on this university, so I will probably stay there. And in general, I think that the extracurricular activities I took during high school were very important for me. And so it would be great if I could contribute to motivate other students to do them.
Yeah, thank you, Veronica, very much. Meanwhile, I'll just mention that you can write us some questions at our Slido. You can find the link down in the description of the video, so you can already ask the questions, and we will answer them in the second half of the streaming. Okay, thank you. So now, William, you are currently at your PhD, so your academic path is a little longer than the path of, for example, me. So tell us what did you do during your high school studies, and what led you to your current position?
Thank you for the question, Daniel. First, good evening to everyone, and I'm here as a bit of an outcast, to be honest, as I'm not a part of organizing committee FYKOS. However, I've heard quite a lot of very pleasant things about the competition. Moreover, I think I'm the only chemist here on the panel, so my views will be shifted a bit towards more practical physics. However, where to start? So I studied at bilingual grammar school in Slovakia, the second biggest city in the country, Košice. After that, I did my bachelor in physics and chemistry in Slovakia, my master's at the University of Edinburgh, and as Daniel mentioned, currently I'm a doctoral student at RWTH Aachen and Jülich Center for Neutron Science at Forschungszentrum Jülich in Germany. Go back in past to my high school years, I did a huge amount of different various competitions, quite similar to Daniela. I did a lot of competitions in various fields such as biology or geography. However, I always knew natural sciences are something I would like to pursue in the future. For my personal experience, I tend to value the science fairs competitions the most. I always like the feeling of creating something. And I would say that my high school years peaked with Intel ICEF in 2014 in Los Angeles, and then in Vernadsky National Competition in Moscow in 2015, where I went with Daniel here.
I remember that one.
Yeah, with our small astronomy project. So I'm here on the panel to discuss the opportunities you all have during your high school years, and I will be happy to share the experience. Also, the important part of my academic life was the project with Telescope on the Roads, where I was a lecturer, and we toured schools, elementary and secondary schools in Eastern Slovakia, and where we delivered lectures in the field of astronomy for more than 3,000 students. It was very inspiring, and I enjoyed that part very much. So I think that's from my side for now. And please.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So now we can proceed to Josef Lipták. As I mentioned, Josef is currently a student at Charles University, and Josef, you are in first year of master studies, right? And it's theoretical astronomy and astrophysics. So can you tell us a bit more about your path to Charles University and to studying the astronomy?
Oh, thank you for your introduction. I'm from Central Slovakia, and I'm always have the feeling that I'm more self-learner, and I maybe don't have the best physics teacher at the high school, but I have very brilliant teacher of mathematics, which helped me a lot because you need your mathematical knowledge in physics. And I was competing in many competitions in mathematics, physics, in Olympiads and correspondence seminars. And that led to, I think, 6 international Olympiads I attended to. So probably I'm the best to ask about international Olympiads. And I think that they are the best way for young people like our participants to travel the world and know and get to know other cultures, because it's quite a lifetime experience for many of us to travel to the other side of the world.
Yeah, thank you very much, Josef. Now here is Marco, who is, well, we can say still a high school student, but it doesn't mean that he has less experiences with the competition at high schools and also with choosing his own path at the university, because as far as I know, Marco already chose the university, or at least was thinking a lot about choosing the university for his university studies, which begins next year, if I'm correct, right? So Marco, tell us more about
Yes,
yourself and
so
your career.
I'm finishing high school this year, but competitions don't start in high school, right? They start a few years before that. And I think like those years are the important ones, like the year before the start of high school, or maybe even the year before that, because you have a lot of different options, but you really aren't good at anything at that point. You don't know any mathematics, you don't know any physics, or you barely have any understanding of anything at all. You don't know how to program. So like whatever grabs your attention, you start doing that, right? So in those few years, I was distracted, you could say, or like on the other hand, I was trying everything else. I was trying chemistry and programming and I don't know what, maths and physics and languages. But you know, as times goes on, you have to like focus on something, like to have some like structure in your life and like a structure to the way you learn things. So the thing I was most focused on until now was astronomy. So this is the seventh year I'm participating in the astronomy Olympiad. I've been to 3 international astronomy competitions, and that's fun. But like you get to focus more on what your your progress. I think by doing more long-term projects, like as William mentioned with the science fairs. So I did some research projects on variable stars and double stars and asteroids and solar spectroscopy. And that was fun. I think like the most things that I have learned were from these projects, and I could channel this knowledge into the competitions.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, now maybe I should introduce myself as well. And thank you for the note about the elementary school and all the things we do before going to high school, because that's also where I started my, let's say, career.
I could like mention this was the 6th year I participated at Fyziklani. So
of course, Marco is our long-time contestant, so we really appreciate that as well. So, well, with the competitions, I started, as I mentioned, at high school, I'm sorry, at elementary school. And I mainly did some Olympiads, like Olympiad in mathematics, physics, and I've tried also Olympiad in chemistry, but quite soon at the high school, I found out that that's not my cup of tea. Even though I like chemistry, it was not something I was great at, so I choose not to proceed in this direction. I choose rather orient myself on physics, and well, I gave up mathematics as well. So I focus more on physics, and I started primary with the physics Olympiad and with young physicist tournament, which is let's say similar to Olympiad in the topic of the physics and solving some physics problems, but the problems are more experimental and we work in team. Then during my studies at high school, I started also doing some science fairs. As William mentioned, we done together a small project about photos. I'm sorry, about transiting exoplanets, and we got ourselves to fly over to Russia and to present our project in Moscow at Venice National Fair. So I almost, well, practically I did no seminars, so this was not my cup of tea as well at high school. But now I know that I would change that, and if I was back at high school, I would definitely do some seminar-like competitions and activities. Also, because I had the opportunity to see not only the Olympiads but the science fairs as well, I found out that the science fairs and especially the scientific work itself is really interesting. Will help me to decide to go to study physics at the university. And well, also I found out that it is not just about some problem solving, I mean physics problem solving, and that I should focus more on my other, let's say, soft skills, not only in presenting, but also in like working in science itself. So that's what got me here. Also, what helped me quite a lot is let's say some tracks at our observatory, regional observatory in Žilina, where I could promote astronomy during my high school studies, and then I used it to, or it helped me to get work at Astronomical Institute of Czech Academy of Sciences, where during my college studies I did some, let's say, science stuff with exoplanets, especially spectroscopic measurements of radial velocities, but that's not the point here. So I could try a real science at Academy of Sciences in Czech Republic, and I pretty like that. And I'm sure that I want to proceed in this direction now. So, well, that's quite a lot about me. So let's now move on.
What are you studying currently?
Yeah, also during my studies of sciences and physics and astronomy, I found out that it's not only useful for the society, but also it's quite useful for me to know, to learn how to promote and how to teach science and physics, especially astronomy. So I decided to study my master's I'm studying teaching and education of physics and math. And right now I'm also working as a half-time math teacher at high school in Czech Republic in Prague. So that's quite not, it's not the typical path of a physicist in during his studies, but I think it has quite a lot what it can give me. So I hope it will. And of course, on my PhD, I want to continue my studies as an astronomer and astrophysicist. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And well, now we can maybe proceed to some even more interesting questions. During this round, it was not just to promote ourselves, but also to mention or to show you some possibilities what there are at high school. Of course, it varies through countries and through different schools and different educational systems. But I think that the main part, like subject Olympiads, science fairs, and some other activities, it's quite similar in every country. So those are the possibilities which what you can do. But how to get it all done, how to start, or how to choose which one is the best for you. That's something we should know and what we plan to talk about right now. So we already started about we already mentioned a little about the beginnings, but maybe I would ask William, what would you say, William? What's the best path? How to start your career as a physicist or as a scientist at high school? What should you do the first? Go to your physics teacher, or what's the best opinion?
Thank you. That's a very complex question, though. However, my first thing to say would be to try as many things as you can. You should really try to find what is really your topic, whether it's chemistry, biology, or astronomy. And afterwards, yes, I think your first step should be to talk to your teacher, whether it's chemistry teacher or physics teacher or biology teacher. However, if you hear no, that should not discourage you. If you really want to pursue the path in chosen field, even through the high school, you really should focus on it. And for example, I know it's not possible everywhere, but certainly there is option, for example, to contact a local university, writing very informal email to some scientist at local university or local research lab, or even local company which is doing research, and basically ask them, and don't be deterred easily. You should try to follow it. And I would like to connect to what Marco said. I think it's important to basically try whether you prefer science fairs or whether you are more into the knowledge-based types of competitions. For example, I think Olympics are less oriented on problem solving than, for example, science fairs, where you really do your own scientific project and where you can really taste all the small nuances of individual scientific work. So my advice to sum it up is don't be deterred, do it, pursue it, and basically be annoying. Be annoying. The worst thing that can be said to you is no. And so that's my personal experience. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that, Marco? You have the most recent experience with the career start, so to say. So you are probably the best person to.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with being annoying. I'm really good at that. You, you, and it really helps. I kept my supervisors for my research projects up at night for days, right? But they do it for free, and it's amazing. It's amazing what people can do for you for free or just out of interest. So I'm a big fan of that. And I didn't, well, and maybe I said that research projects are the best way to learn. That may be true for some sorts of skills like plotting graphs and typography and getting, all the little details. But the more Olympiad traditional competitions or even seminars by correspondence, like they teach you the essentials of the physics behind the things, and maybe that's only 20% of the work that you do while doing the project, right? Really solving equations that you do a few evenings of the whole year, or maybe more, but most of it will be programming and other things that uh, you don't learn from the Olympiads, that only focus on the particular topic.
I agree. I have to agree with Mark on that. Yes, the basis or the solid base of your knowledge should not be taken lightly. So for that, yes, Olympics or knowledge-based competitions are great, uh, especially to build up your skill. And maybe the last point from me, I forgot the most important thing. Daniel will laugh now because he knows me, but it's think big. Always think big and always go for big things. Go for the best data you can get. Dream, and as I said, think big. No can go wrong.
I have a note to that because when I was doing my projects, my first requirement was I have to finish this in 6 months. This project has to be finished in 6 months because people say they do it for the path and not for the results, but I really like results. So like my idea was like pick something simple that you can finish in 6 months. And it turns out like nothing is simple and you can't finish anything in 6 months, but you have to, right? So maybe I knew like some friends were really thinking big and developing software and incredible things, but they never finished their things. And it kept dragging on, and they were doing like their projects for 3 years, 4 years. And you can have like four projects finished in 4 years, or you can have like one huge amazing thing without any results. So you have to balance that.
Yeah, I think that the balance is the hardest thing to find, and I think we will talk a little bit about it later. But I would like to turn back a little to Daniela because you mentioned that you had to pursue the goal to work on seminar competitions because your teacher didn't appreciate them as much. So, how was it for you? Can you describe this experience, or did it? I don't want to say that hurt you, but did it? Let's say
Discourage me.
discourage you? Yeah, that's the best word.
Uh, well, I'm stubborn a lot. Uh, and I think that I'm able to set my goals, and I'm not a big dreamer, or I know where are my limits, and I am very disappointed when I set a goal and didn't achieve it, and don't achieve it. So I prefer to set goals which I know I will achieve, and then I will be happy with myself. But I know that I can try to be better maybe next year and so on. So when I was the last year of my high school, I wanted to go to our national round of physics Olympiad, and I told myself that, well, it would be very nice to be in the first 10 and then go to that how do I say that
Let's
from that
say
10
qualification.
people, sorry.
Qualification to
Yes,
international round.
qualification to international round. And I knew that I'm not good enough to get to international round because, well, yeah, I'm realistic. But I really wanted to get there to that qualification. And I worked very hard because I was disappointed by my results in that Olympiad year before. So I worked the whole year. I learned during summer, I learned during evenings, I learned during travels by train, and it was hard, but finally I got to that qualification. And well, yeah, I was the last after the qualification, but I was happy with myself because I achieved my goals, so it's nice. And yeah, it's normal that you can be discouraged by something, by your failure, or when you are not when you don't get enough points or so on, or your teacher don't want to help you, and you feel like you need help with something. But as William said, you have to be annoying sometimes, and you have to be a bit stubborn, so you can go your own way.
Yeah, thank you. Well, now to you, Joseph. Well, you mentioned that your physics teacher wasn't as motivating as maybe you would wish, but your math teacher helped you a lot. Well, even though you didn't have the best physics teacher, we who knew you even also back then, we all knew as the winner because you won several gold medals at international Olympiads, also at the international Olympiad in physics. So for us, it looked like it was so easy for you. So was it so easy for you? And how did you have to fight a little to get motivated, or how did the not have the best physics teacher influenced your path, let's say?
I was driven mostly by myself. So I find in our local library some books on the topics I was interested in. And there are many research things you can find on internet. So nowadays you can study a lot even without a teacher, but I know many people who need some guidance in their studies. So for them, probably the best option is to find someone interested, someone supportive, and that person might be just their parents, family, or some friends, or they can try to find someone who works in the field, or it could be just some other competitor in the field, maybe some older students that can guide them, as I was doing at my school with my younger friends. And to add to the mathematics side of things, uh, sometimes it's not that really important to know a lot of math, but usually the Olympiads, especially when you have some really hard question and you have a solid mathematical backgrounds and foundation, you can solve a lot from the question without really understanding what's going on. So that can be a benefit of being good in math.
Sure. Thank you very much. Well, and what about you, Veronica? Did you struggle to get motivated, or did you have some help, or did you motivate it just by yourself?
Actually, the first 2 years of my high school study, I didn't take much initiative. It was I was lucky to have a good physics teacher who basically signed me to the physics Olympiad without my consent almost. But I'm very thankful for that because he showed me that maybe I am capable of doing the Olympiad and solving some problems, which I didn't even know about myself before. So I needed a little bit help in the beginning to realize that. But during the third and fourth year of my high school study, I became more motivated and I started searching for the opportunities on my own. So I would also like to mention that being annoying. I think that there are people who are not very good at being annoying. I think I'm one of them. But I liked what William said before. That is that approach. What is the worst that can happen? And I would say that this is what helped me, because I always thought, what is the worst that can happen? Well, I can be the last one in the competition, but at least it will give me the experience. And even though I would be the last one, I would be still more experienced than those who haven't even participated. So I think that's a good thing to think about it in the terms of what is the worst what can happen.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, me and William, we have quite a good memory of being annoying, especially if you, William, remember, as we asked a mayor of Žilina, regional city capital in Slovakia, for some money for our science project. Well, we were trying to get ourselves to Greece to observe at observatory there, so we can use their data and to try to observe by ourselves what we are observing. Then some transits of exoplanets, if I'm correct. Well, we didn't have enough money for traveling there, so we wrote several proposals for some grants and for some funding. And well, the last one worked out. We even got to the meeting with mayor of Žilina, and he promised to give us some money for the travel. Unfortunately, it failed, not because of the financial problems, but because of the technical issues at the observatory in Greece. it was quite a pity. And well, that's also the worst thing what can happen. We didn't travel anywhere, even though we found some money. So it was quite disappointing. But on the other hand, it's quite a good example. And I think William will agree with me. It's quite a good example of something what can, well, usually, no, or sometimes things don't go as quite well as we planned, but actually nothing terrible happened. So I think it was quite a good experience. Also, and also we, um, I think it gave us a lot, only to talk with the mayor and uh, to think about this possibility and to plan it. What would you say to them to this?
I definitely concur. Sometimes even if you ultimately fail, it's not the point because you learn so many valuable things during the process. As Veronica said, if you do something and you fail, you are still more successful and more experienced than those who didn't try anything. So definitely, example you gave, I think, is very very valid and very nice example. I would like to, without adding too many cliches here, I would like to point out that Winston Churchill once said that success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And basically, that's the attitude you should have. And I would like to stress out that you would be more surprised than you expect on how many people are willing to help you. From my personal experience, I can tell you that very low amount of senior scientists, professors, doctors, whatever, did really decline me when I needed something or if I asked something. Most of the professionals in the academic field are very eager to help and they're very happy if especially high school students or even secondary or elementary school students reach out to them and ask them questions. So you shouldn't be afraid, and you'll probably see that people are more willing to help you than you would initially expect.
Yeah, and well, I think that part of the high school experience and the competitions and activities during high school is that you don't need to be the best one, the number one, to be successful. And that's, I think that's, well, nowadays it is quite often we see that you need to be the best to succeed. Actually, we don't need just one science for everything. We need many scientists, and scientists work in teams. So especially in the physics and astronomy and similar, well, chemistry and similar sciences, you don't need to be the best one to get into real science and to be successful. So I think that's also something what can motivate you, that if you lose some time, and especially if you maybe don't go to International Physics Olympiad or some international competition or science fair, it doesn't mean that you failed at high school. I don't know, like you, but or I don't know about you, but I know that I didn't got myself into International Physics Olympiad. Actually, I was the last one in our national round, and it's, well, somehow I said to myself that, okay, well, never mind. Maybe I'm not the best one in solving the physics problems like are given out to us at the Physics Olympiad, but it gave me at least the let's say some feedback to myself that, well, okay, I'm not the best in this field, but it doesn't mean that I should be the best, the worst scientist. And it helped me a lot at the university studies because, well, I was going to, well, attending the first year at the university, and I knew that, okay, I may struggle a little, and actually I did struggle, not just a little, but thanks to the, let's say, failure at the high school, I knew that that's not the most important and that I can somehow overcome it. And I'm not sure about your experiences, but I know this is quite often. And because the winner can be just one, so it doesn't mean that you failed if you are not just the best. Yeah, of course it's the best, but it doesn't need to be the best at high school to be a really good scientist.
I
I
would
think,
like to connect to what Daniela said previously, because I said think big, and Daniela said that she's not a great like overachiever. She doesn't think big, but I think that goal you gave yourself was a very nice one. I think that's actually an example of thinking big to get, for example, to the selection round. I know you'll downplay that, but I think on the national, even on national scale, that's not a little goal, and you did your best. So I wanted to go back to that point. And to Marco, I have one remark. Yes, you said that in 6 months you have certain amount of time that you need to fill, and that will connect to what Daniel said, that to find the balance between thinking big and between realistically being able to realistically assess the situation and think of project of reasonable scale is very difficult.
And not only like balance between like being realistic and thinking big, but also a balance of like uh, tackling the problem at a wide level or at a deep level, right? So, like for example, we have this checklist of competitions. It's a Google Doc with I don't know how many, maybe 70 links, maybe less, maybe more. I don't know. It's like 2 pages of competitions you can do, but like no one can do all of them, and like no one can do half of them. So you have to like choose something. Like you have to try many of them, like to find which one suits you the best, but you have to focus on something, right? Because then if you don't have like that, you don't have a specific idea of what problem you're trying to solve, you have like no chance of solving it, right? So yeah. And back to failing, like if you want to like try most of the competitions on that list, you will like fail most of them, and it's fun. But maybe I will have a remark to Sir or Mr. Churchill, like you can't fail all the time and still be enthusiastic, or at least not me. You have to have like some minor successes along the way, just like to keep going.
yeah, I'm really, well, thank you for that. I'm really glad that we got to this part, to finding the balance, because that's what we should talk about quite a lot, because that's, as Marco said, there are so many options and so many possibilities, and it's quite hard to choose, not only choose the right for you, but just choose some options. So I would be happy if you would talk a little about this choosing, because it's quite a task at high school, and especially at high school when you don't know all the possibilities, or even you do, but you don't know how to choose. So maybe I'll start with William, as you finished almost last. So how did you choose? What did you do at high school? What was the decision making point?
Yes, I agree with Marco said, but I think to be able to select one topic you can go into very deeply, you should try you should try as many things as you can. Well, what I did during high school was I tried numerous competitions, mostly science fairs. I did several science projects. Some were more successful, some were less successful, but I always tried something new. And once I identified the field I would like to work in my case, it was mostly material science, material physics, chemical physical chemistry. And once I identified that subject, that was the point when I started thinking big and I wanted to go into the depth. Certainly, you have to have realistic goals, like no one expects from you at the high school to solve like 200-year-old physical problem. It would be nice if you can do it, of course. Maybe there are some of you who can, but realistically speaking, you should be able to set goals which would suit your formal and informal education and the time and resources you have. But definitely, back to your question, definitely at first you should try what type of competition suits you the best, which field, what approach, and based on that, you should slowly start working deeper and deeper into the selected.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Daniela, I know that you participated in both Slovak and Czech physics seminar in FYKOS and also FKS. So did you struggle to find a balance between them, or was it easier?
In the beginning, I had enough time to solve them both, but I felt that Czech competition suited me better because I liked maybe the style of the problems better, and I don't know, it was just more interesting for me. And after I went to that physics camp, I decided that, well, yeah, that's the way I want to go. These people I like, or these people are maybe more than me, and it was very interesting because I was the only one, or I didn't have friends at the high school who would do physics and mathematics and so on, and it was just myself, and I had to be I didn't have other people I could compete with or solve the problems with. So it was just myself. And then I found out that there are a lot of people who are having the similar interest that I have, who are thinking in the same way. So it was very nice to find out that. And well, yeah, about the choosing of my field, I was deciding between chemistry and physics. And for me, an important point was my high school teacher, or my high school teachers, because I didn't have a good teacher for chemistry, or really for three years of chemistry. Each year I had another teacher, so it wasn't very good. But I had a really good physics teacher, so it probably is the reason why I am now studying physics. But I know that this decision was good and was right, because now I feel that this is what I really like and what is interesting for me. And well, yeah, chemistry is interesting, but I can see that my way of thinking is the physics thinking, not the mathematics or the chemists. And another one thing I would like to say, to that competing and so on, when you fail some competition, that can be that this is not your field, not like it's not physics or it's not chemistry, but maybe this physics Olympiad is about counting and solving some problems, and they have their own way, and you have to learn that way how to solve them. And I enjoyed it at high school, and I would say I was pretty good at it at my level. But university studies are completely different from it. And I never tried some scientific projects and science fairs and so on. But here I found out that solving just some countings and so on is not for me, and that I prefer to do experimental science, which I didn't try before. But I realized that this is good for me, and maybe this will be also your way. So you find out, you don't have to find out exactly what you want to do. You can go to university to studying some general field you like, and then you will find out what is really for you. I wasn't sure what I want to study in physics, because you have various fields of physics, but I chose something like a year and a half ago, and I'm satisfied with my decision.
Yeah, thank you for your answer. Well, we are talking here about the balance between several activities and several competitions, but we shouldn't forget that high school students are mainly high school students. So there is still this high school which they should or you should attend. So uh, maybe we could talk a little about the balance between activities at high school, which are not mainly like the studying at high school, and then the studying itself, because sometimes it is possible to get like a special study plan, but in many cases I know that this is not the option. So let's talk a little about this. Did anyone of you had some struggles with high school and with attending classes between the competitions and so? Was this the case for you, or?
I was doing a lot of Olympiads in my third and fourth year at the high school. And there was times when I was not physically at school, maybe for a week or maybe even 2 weeks at a time. And uh, my teachers usually were really appreciating of what I'm doing, and I can study the materials that they provided or take my time and do the tests a bit later. So I didn't have problems really with my teachers and studying, but it can take a bit amount a big amount of your time to do a lot of competitions, and you need to stop at some point. So I was doing maybe I was trying to do maybe 4 correspondence seminars at the same year, and I found out after first month and a half that really it's not possible to do that many.
Thank you. Well, Marco, you are still at high school, so do you struggle to find a balance between your activities and studying, or maybe even activities and I don't know, like normal life?
Well, it was more difficult when you had to attend school physically, but like maybe I had more activities back then. But like it's easy to get a bit too arrogant about school, like because when you do like one specific thing, you get really good at it. Like in a few months, you're like nobody in your school knows as much about this little topic more than you. Like none of the teachers, and it's not hard like to find a topic in which you become good very fast. But like the school like teaches you a lot of things, and even though like it's very slow and very repetitive, like you have to pay some attention to it, right? You can't, you are there like 6 7 8 hours per day. It's not a small thing. But I want to react to what Danka said about um, finding friends in the competitions, because that's like not only fun but like I think also important, because like when you start like knowing all the people on the lists of competitors, uh, you're like, firstly the first thing you know, like you're not as smart as you think you are, which is like fun because you can compare yourself to your friends, and you know like you have room for improvement, and you get in better and better company with time, which is fun. Like I don't like mean better company. I mean like company which is better in physics, for example. And you like grow as a group, which I find like important. And with the school absence, maybe I was just like too obedient and not too annoying at school, which maybe wasn't a bad thing. Like being too annoying at school like can get you into troubles. But yeah, you have to balance it.
Yeah. Well, Veronica, yeah, and then I will go to Branyo. Well, Branyo, William, no, sorry. I will ask you then the same question as Veronica, but I'll start with Veronica. So, did you get too arrogant at school that you are doing so many competitions and so many activities, and did high school just bother you as something too much what you don't need to do or something like that?
It's interesting questions. Maybe I will start more widely to react to what was said before, because this I encountered this problem in the fourth year of my high school study when I started to do quite a lot of activities outside school. And basically every time you choose to do something, some other things needs to be put aside. And it's for you to decide which things you put aside. And I got to the point where I realized I need to stop because there are some things that aren't activities and maybe aren't that much fun or aren't connected to the thing you are very good at, but also shouldn't be put aside. Like, I don't know, even given time to your family or the school itself, as was said, or maybe your different interests. Like for me, it was playing the piano. So I think these other things are really important too, and they shouldn't be given up just to make more extracurricular activities. To the original questions, if I became too arrogant, well, it's true that I became a bit arrogant. I must admit, I think, because I was basically, I think that I was one of the best people in my class. I was doing probably the most extracurricular activities. But I think that the camps and the camps where you meet other people from the field are a great cure for that, because you really see that you are not the best one, and there are people who are horribly much better than you are. At least for me, that was the impression that I got first when I got on the camp with FYKOS. So I think that is a good thing to do when you become, or you realize that you are starting to become maybe more arrogant to school.
So, William, what about you? Did you get too arrogant at high school?
I wanted to connect to what Mark and Daniela said. First about the friends and lack of friends. Yes, I think it's a particular problem if you have a very specific interest. You have a difficulty to find friends, and competitions offer great opportunity for you to meet people of your own liking. For example, I have very good example to point out. I met with Daniel at science fair, and it's been a friendship which has been on air for more than 10 years, I think. So that's one thing. The second point I wanted to make is that yes, you'll meet people which are much better than you are. For me, the best experience from this point of view was Intel ISEF, which is probably the most prestigious and the best science fair in the world. And there were around 1,000 participants there with scientific projects from various different fields, from molecular biology to astrophysics and chemical engineering. And the quality of project there was simply astonishing. That's the point when you realize, yes, you're probably not the best, but as Daniel made very nice point previously, you don't have to be the best, or even to be more abstract. What does it mean to be the best? Everyone has the unique set of skills and abilities, and you should try to utilize your own abilities and skills the best you can. And to connect what Marco said with academic life, even at the academic conferences, one of the most important part of every conference is the coffee break, because that's the point where you meet, where you meet people, and where you bond. Some even friendships are born there, and you decide on various collaborations, grants, etc., and so on and so on. And now to address your question, did I become too arrogant? Well, that's not for me to answer this question. Honestly speaking, I've never had a problem in my high school years, and I wouldn't say I became too arrogant. You should be well aware of your skills and of your abilities. I wouldn't consider it to be the arrogance to be the problem, but you need to keep that in mind.
Yeah, please, Joseph.
And coffee breaks and stuff like that. I think the most important part of the International Olympiads is the discussions that take place between participants. You can learn a lot about other countries, about other people, how they live, what they are going for in their life. So I think that's the most important, even more important than the competition itself. And you can make friendships that last all your lives, even with some people from other countries that you are from. And I know some people that even became married later and they met the competition.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, especially the coffee breaks and all those discussions between students. Well, that's basically where I met William. So this is the reason. Also, this is the reason of our collaboration. So yeah, it is quite important. But I would take it back also a little, just a step back with the high school itself. I would say that. Especially at high school, students are they could have or can have quite a balance of not too many adult problems what they have to solve and what they have to think about, like earning money. Mostly, I know that there are some of us who may have these problems, but usually students at high school don't need to make money, don't need to think about the living itself, or usually maybe not even the food and so. And it's good to use it, the time that some free time what you have, and not to just worry about the life and all the stuff, and try things. And that's also why we are talking about these opportunities, because even if you decided you don't want to be a scientist, and that you maybe will finish your this part of your career at high school, but still it can give you a lot, and you can use this free time with well, all the competitions and so usually ends at high school. So you can be adult and you can do adult stuff for many years later, but this short period of time at high school is very unique, and it is good to use it. And well, on the other note, when we are talking about the balance between competition, studying, and then the free time or just some social time, I think this is also quite important, not to just to forget all your classmates, especially if you have a good class and at your school you have some friends there. It is good to not just forget them. At least for me, it was very good, because I was at math class, so my colleagues or my classmates, at least a few of them, also did some competitions and some activities at high school. So my advice for you, if you have a good let's say social group at your school and your high school, maybe don't be too eager to just to break it and to go somewhere else and find friends at different places, because this local group can be much helpful then friends which you meet once in a year, and then no more. So I'm not saying that this is a good that's the best option, but don't forget to consider this one. Yeah, I would say it's like this way. It's like an option, but you shouldn't forget. I don't know if any of you want to comment on that or.
Maybe I would like to say something about what you told about the time during high school study. I would like to, I think that it's not only the period where you have lots of time, but also it's the period when the opportunities are probably maybe most accessible for you, and they are just almost everywhere, I would say. I think that now when I'm at university, maybe it's because the pandemic, but I think that there are not so many opportunities to compete or just or at least it's not as much accessible. I have to fight more to get opportunities, and I believe that if you take them during the high school study, it will become or it will be more easier for you to stay in this way when you are on a university or during the rest of your life. So I think that it's good time to start with the things.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. So we sometimes say that enough is enough. So what is enough? Did any of you had some problems with, for example, sleeping or something? Because well, at high school also you need to sleep. Also, all the scientists need to sleep. You need to eat and so. And I know many students who had quite a problem to balance this, and they hit quite hard at some point, and it can be even quite dangerous for your health and for all this stuff. So when is enough? When you should stop a little and maybe wait and then start again. William, can you comment on that?
Certainly. Again, you chose a very difficult question. I would say you should always prioritize your health, and even if you think you can pull all-nighters all semester long, you cannot. You're simply a human being, and you can sustain it for some time, but as Daniel said, you'll crash hard at some point. So definitely keep a close connection with yourself as in the meaning of physical body, and don't strain yourself too much. It's okay to push yourself to certain limits, but as Daniel said, enough is enough, and you should definitely, when you start feeling unwell, or you simply don't overdo it. It will lead nowhere, and at the end, you will lose more time than you gain by recovering and so on. So that's my very brief view on this topic.
Yeah, thank you. So, Daniela, can you add something to this topic?
Well, yeah. I think that you have to know when to stop, and when you don't get enough sleep, you are not that much productive, and it can have also some consequences in your health, and so it's not good, and you have to know where are your limits, and it's normal to have limits, so it's not something you should be ashamed of. But I would like to say something about, because we were talking about high school and how is it possible to have enough time also for studying at high school and also for extracurricular activities. We who are here, yeah, we were lucky that we had these, how would I say it, nice people as teachers, so they were coming to us and they gave us these opportunities to write tests later and then they gave us materials and so on. But there are people that are not that lucky. And for these people, there is possibility of individual studying plan. And I know that in Slovakia is not that often, but in Czech Republic, a lot of people I know from competitions and seminars and so on had this individual plan. And I know it helped them a lot to also finish their high school and do a lot of extracurricular activities. And they didn't have that much problem to do both. And the last thing I would like to say is to being the best in the field and to the cooperation. You don't have to be the best, because one best person isn't able to do that much as a lot of people in cooperation who cooperate together. So it's not about being the best. It's nice. It's good also for, I don't know, getting some grants or so on. But when you are good enough in your field and you try and you are working hard and you cooperate with other people from your field or from the related fields, the research today is about this, is about cooperating of the various fields. For example, well, I'm studying surface science and nanoparticles, but it's a bit of bioapplications. And I know that if I want to work and achieve something, I have to work also with biologists, with chemists, because I'm not able to learn everything from this field. And I know that we have to cooperate to achieve something good. And it's not about this small field, but it's normal now in science.
Yeah, thank you very much for your remarks. Well, obviously this topic of activities and possibilities at high school is quite large, and we hopefully we will have some time later during the year or semester to talk about it a little more. Now I would like to answer one question which we got. So I will just read it, and then some of you can answer it probably. So is anyone of you thinking of going into industry research, not academia? And what do you take into consideration when making that decision? So if anyone want to comment on that. Okay, Glenn?
I'll probably comment on that, as I'm doing a PhD right now. So first thing you should really consider is that academia is very specific environment in general, and you'll get the taste of it once you decide to do your, even during your master studies, but mostly during your PhD. You'll get the sense of what being in academia means. Not everybody likes that. So that's one important thing that has to be considered if you can imagine yourself working in this environment. Another important thing to address is the necessity to see the goals you have in science, or more specifically in academia. The things are not as profit driven as, for example, in industry. And from my personal experience, industry research should be is mostly very specifically focused on something. So that you have to have that in mind if you want to study something more abstract, something more fundamental science, and not only very specific applications. And to address the first part of the question, yes, I'm considering doing further career in industry, but I'm not discounting academia either. So that's from my point of view. If anyone else wants to join in, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. So if anyone want to add something or comment on that, please you can. but also if anyone has some final remarks, we can proceed this, because then we will briefly switch into Czech language to talk a little about Czech and Slovak possibilities, which are quite specific for locals. And that will be all for our discussion. So, well, we are 1.5 hour long, so I think that will be enough for today, and later we can talk a little more about it. So if anyone want to have some final remarks on in English.
My final English remark will be that if anyone here is interested in any sort of physical chemistry topic or something, if you want to consult an issue at hand, if you want to discuss possibilities, I am happy to help, and please feel free to contact me. That's from my side to our international audience.
Yeah, well, of course, if you have any questions, you can write it to our Slido portal, which link is in the description of the video. And also after this live stream, you can write to us at email FYKOS@fykos.cz. So that is always possible, and also you can find our personal email addresses at our website fykos.org. So it is still possible. You can always contact us, and we will be happy to help you and to answer your questions. So yeah, Daniela?
I would like to add some final comment to this. When you are choosing industry or academia, it's also about it's also about money, because you have to live from something, and gaining money in academia is a bit tricky, because you have to get grants and some fundings, and it's not always easy, and maybe it's not also that much stable as in industry, because you have some grant for 5 years, and after 5 years, or it's optimal to sooner start to find another funding, because when you are out of funding, you don't have money for living. But in industry, it's not like this, because you have some stable work and you work in some company, and it's maybe less challenging to work in industry. But for some people, it's a good way, because they don't want that much challenges in their life. So it depends. It depends on you. And you can write us anytime you want and ask something about studying, about possibilities, and we will be happy to reply to your emails and or these questions in Slido and emails later.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. If anyone has any other remarks, please speak up. But if no, I think we can conclude this part in English. So for our international viewers, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Did you follow this live stream? And of course, it will be then uploaded on YouTube afterwards. So if you didn't catch up with the stream, you can watch it later. And still many thanks, and we hope that it helped you at least a little, maybe to show you what are the possibilities or how to approach those options which you have at high school. And so thank you very much once more, and I think that's it for English. And now we can switch to Czech. And hopefully we will add sometime later some subtitles, so you can maybe at least read a little about what we talk about. So yeah, thank you very much. Tak a teraz teda môžeme prejsť do tej češtiny. Tá moja čeština je nádherná slovenčina, takže to nie je tak úplne čeština. No a prečo sme sa vlastne rozhodli, že by sme prešli aj do tohto nášho lokálneho jazyka, tak asi ten hlavný dôvod je, že ako sme už spomenuli, tak tie možnosti a tie príležitosti, ktoré máte počas štúdia na strednej škole, sa trochu líšia v závislosti na špecifika, čo sa týka tých možností. Daniela, chcel si nejak?
Iba si sa na chvíľu zasekol, ale už je to...
Aha, jo, tak pardon, mne asi vypadlo na chvíľku spojenie. No, takže chceme povedať nejaké niečo o tých špecifikách proste štúdia tu v Čechách na Slovensku. A ja by som možno práve začal tým, ako je to s tým individuálnym študijným plánom a s dochádzkou. My už sme sa vlastne o tom bavili. A keď to tak uvediem, tak Daniela, myslím, ty si spomínala, že práve ten individuálny študijný plán v Čechách, ešte u nás na Slovensku, väčšina z nás tým nemá až takú skúsenosť a väčšinou sa to nevyžadovalo a tá dochádzka skôr dobiehala, respektíve nepočítala sa tak veľmi dochádzka ako jednotlivé písomky, ktoré sme museli mať napísané. A tam by som možno práve podotkol, a tým by som to asi začal, že keď sme sa rozprávali o tom balansovaní medzi štúdiom na strednej a medzi tými aktivitami, tak je veľmi dôležité stále si nejak tak držať proste v hlave to, čo musíte spraviť, aby ste mohli proste ísť ďalej, aby ste si napríklad nevyrábali problémy nejakými reparátmi a opakovaniami nejakých písomiek, čo by vás mohlo viac zamotať a neskôr vlastne vám obmedziť práve ten čas, ktorý by ste mohli venovať aktivitám popri štúdiu. Neviem, či niekto z vás chce na toto nejako naviazať, pokojne asi môžete.
Ja si dovolím nadviazať tým, že z tohto pohľadu je určite dôležitý time management a ako Dano povedal, je to celé time managemente a v podstate čím skôr si začnete ten čas a tie priority, úlohy nejak manažovať, tým je to lepšie pre vás aj z hľadiska nejakej osobnej skúsenosti, pretože skôr alebo neskôr, špecificky ak sa rozhodnete študovať prírodné vedy, určite prídete do štádia, v ktorom ten time management bude viac menej nevyhnutný. Takže ak s tým začnete už počas strednej školy, máte konkurenčnú výhodu proti vašim kolegom.
To som pridal, že dobre si v priebehu aj na začiatku školského roka zistiť, aké súťaže sú kedy a nejak si rozvrhnúť svoj čas už dopredu. A podobne aj v škole je dobre povedať, že v tej škole nebudete skôr, ako reálne z tej školy odídete. Aby ste sa mohli s jednotlivými vyučujúcimi dohodnúť na tom, čo ako budete dobiehať.
Presne to som chcel práve dodať aj potom, ako Braň hovoril a potom, ako vlastne Jozef to spomínal, že tá komunikácia je strašne dôležitá. A myslím si, že špeciálne u nás na Slovensku a v Čechách sa strašne veľa vecí dá vybaviť, keď to tak poviem, akože v dobrom s učiteľmi, naozaj sa s nimi dá proste dohodnúť, že proste budete chýbať viac, ako je bežné, ale práve to je to dôležité, naozaj sa s nimi dopredu dohodnúť. Myslím si, že to veľa ukáže aj o tom, že ste už dostatočne dospelí a dostatočne ako to beriete ako nejakú zodpovednosť a povinnosť, ktorú máte tú školu, keď viete adekvátne proste s tými učiteľmi komunikovať. Takže to je taká jedna z tých hlavných prvých rád.
Jo, to dát vědět předem, to je dobrý tip. Jako, já jsem vždycky třeba jako v září řekl, že je možné, že tento týden v březnu budou chybět a tento týden v prosinci a tento týden v říjnu. A to jako spousta věcí usnadní. A ještě jako taková čistě, nevím, jestli jenom čistě česká, ale 97% českých škol jede na bakalářích. Jo? A tam se rozlišuje tmavě zelená a světle zelená absence. Jo? Započítaná anebo nezapočítaná. A to dělá velký rozdíl. Jo? Že vám to usnadní spousta věcí, tak jako se zeptejte, jestli tento týden, co chybíte, jako tmavě zelený nebo světle zelený, protože jako potom můžete dělat třeba spousta věcí navíc. A nemusíte řešit, jestli chybíte 50% nebo 25% hodin a hodí se to vědět.
To isté na Slovensku s tými absenciami, respektíve na gymnáziu, kde som bol ja, bolo veľmi dôležité to vykomunikovať, lebo absencia pri reprezentácii školy sa, ako si spomenul, nepočítala tak ako nejaká absencia počas choroby.
Myslím, Daniela, že ty si mala s tým práve nejaké problémy, že vám tú absenciu nezapočítavali ako reprezentáciu školy, alebo...
Ja som to práve mala veľmi dobre, že moja triedna učiteľka to vôbec neriešila a respektíve bola spokojná s tým, že som jej povedala, že som išla robiť niečo, nejakú reprezentáciu, ona ani nechcela vedieť úplne čo presne a bola s tým spokojná a vôbec mi to nezapočítala a dosť mi to pomohlo, pretože už tak som raz mala najväčší vymeškaný počet hodín a to, do toho nebolo započítané reprezentácie, takže tak.
Ja by som nastavujte si ciele tak, aby boli splniteľné a keď sa vás napríklad pýtajú v škole, kedy odovzdáte niečo alebo kedy spravíte ten projekt, kľudne povedzme, nemusíte povedať, že spravím to tento piatok, povedzte, spravím to do konca budúceho týždňa, ale reálne to spravte do toho budúceho týždňa a je dôležitá taká konzistencia v názoroch a stáť si za svojím slovom. Takže to si myslím, že hlavne v našich československých pomeroch je toto niečo, čo je veľmi dôležité a bude to aj svedčiť o nejakom takom vašom prístupe respektíve takom prístupe voči vám zo strany učiteľov.
Samozrejme, určite. Tam potom postupne asi prídeme práve k tomu, že tak ako sme sa už o tom bavili, že o tom, že čo si vybrať. Ja. Ten problém je hlavne teda u nás medzi nami v tom seminárnom prostredí. Je bežné, že veľa vlastne účastníkov rieši veľa seminárov, veľa súťaží a tam to začína byť naozaj náročné. A ono potom možno aj keď sa vám darí, a to bola taká asi moja rada, že aj keď sa vám darí stíhať ako chodiť na viacero tých súťaží, lebo to v škole proste stíhate a ide to, tak nie každú z tých súťaží proste môžete vyhrať. Ale je podľa mňa dobré si povedať, že OK, na túto súťaž sa idem zúčastniť, pretože tam mám dobrých kamarátov, s ktorými chcem byť v kontakte a tá súťaž mi dá niečo po tej nielen sociálnej stránke, ale aj po tej stránke možno nejakých soft skills a nemusí to byť hneď tá výhra, ktorá mi to niečo poskytne. A naopak potom niektoré súťaže budete preferovať, ako tie sem idem vyhrať, tu sa neidem zabávať, tu to idem proste rozbiť, keď to tak poviem. A je dobré si to naozaj takto rozdeliť, pretože napríklad mne sa tiež darilo stíhať viacero aktivít a viacero súťaží, pretože to v škole sme mali tiež pomerne voľné, respektíve pretože v škole som to nejako stíhal, ale vedel som, že nie každú z nich môžem vyhrať, respektíve, že nie pri každej môžem pomýšľať na víťazstvo. A asi tým sa opäť vrátim k tomu, čo sme hovorili už v tej anglickej časti, že je dobré si stanoviť tie cieľe tak, aby ste potom neboli sklamaní, akože povedať si, že idem vyhrať všetky súťaže, ktoré budú tento rok, je jednak trochu nereálne. A síce sa to podariť môže, my vám všetci držíme palce a veríme, ale pravdepodobne sa to nestane a bola by veľká škoda ustať sklamaný a potom sa ďalší rok zaseknúť. Takže na to naozaj treba dávať bacha, ale opäť to je niečo, pokiaľ sa vám v tej škole darí, pokiaľ sa vám v škole náhodou nedarí, tak sa treba na to zamerať, pretože proste súťaže sú predsa len druhoradé a to, že ste boli na nejakej súťaži, ale nezmaturujete, nie je proste ideálny stav a veľmi vám to nepomôže, aj keď tam myslím si, že rovnáš niečo tak zle sa asi nestane, ale myslieť na to určite treba.
Jo, to se mně hrozně líbí, ten typ, že rozlišovat jako věci, co, jako třeba soutěže nebo nějaké akce, které dělám pro legraci, a jako ty, které jdu vážně, protože to je dobrý. A určitě mít prostě všechny občanky a francouzštiny a dějepisy jako v pořádku, jako prostě takovou úlitbu tomu, jak to prostě chodí a potom všechno jde prostě mnohem jednodušší.
No, z vlastnej skúsenosti viem, že to, že som bol týždeň a pol v Rusku na súťaži a bojoval tam a súťažil, tak to ešte neznamená, že v pondelok, vlastne druhý deň po prílete, nemôžem písať slohovú prácu zo španielčiny, respektíve naopak, že nemusím písať slohovú prácu zo španielčiny, takže na to treba myslieť a no, aj keď musím povedať, že v tomto prípade sa nám to potom podarilo nejako ukecať, ale bolo to veľmi tesné a akože to by sme si museli vydýchnuť, pretože to chcelo veľa skillov v komunikácii s našou pani španielčinárkou, takže
ja by som sa ešte dotkol témy, ktoré tu tak veľmi okrajovo zaznela aj od Marka, od teba, Dano. A to sa týka jazykov. Budete v budúcnosti, hlavne ak zvažujete akadémiu, ale vlastne industry, tak budete potrebovať dve jazyky, špecificky angličtinu, takže určite by som tieto predmety nejak nedával do toho istého koša ako občianku, povedzme to takto. Takže na jazyky si dávajte pozor.
určite.
Angličtina.
Tam by som možno ešte dodal jednu vec iba rýchlo. Netreba sa potom toho báť a minimálne myslím si, že väčšina z nás, čo sme teraz na výške, tak pokiaľ pravidelne nekomunikujeme po anglicky, tak sa veľmi často stane, že tá angličtina potom vypadáva, čo teda ste mohli počuť aj u mňa. Ale je hlúpo sa toho báť a povedať si, že ja radšej hovoriť nebudem po anglicky alebo tým cudzým jazykom. Práve naopak je veľmi dobré hovoriť, snažiť sa písať, nebáť sa prihlásiť sa do súťaže, kde sa očakáva, že napíšete niečo po anglicky. Opäť to najhoršie, čo sa môže stať, že proste pošlete zlú prácu, ktorá proste nevyhrá. Ale nie je to hanba, pretože aj na tom sa učíte, aj na každom rozprávaní, na každom jednom slove, ktoré poviete, proste sa trénujete A to, že vám to nejde možno práve teraz, neznamená, že vám to nemôže ísť o rok, keď už proste prejdete tých súťaží niekoľko.
Viem povedať napríklad skúsenosť z Intelu ISEFu, kde tí Američania do veľkej miery, americké publikum je také špecifické, si dosť potrpia na nejakú prezentáciu a soft skills, ale v konečnom dôsledku ich nezaujímal jazyk. Zaujímalo ich, či viete, o čom rozprávate a či to, čo ste robili, má zmysel. Takže hlavne v tej vede by som povedal, ako Dano povedal veľmi dôležitú myšlienku, nebojte sa komunikovať, aj keď sa pomýlite alebo nepoviete niečo gramaticky správne, no stane sa, ale podstatné, aby ste odovzdali tú správu a aby ste to skúšali. A prepáč, Danka, môže.
V poriadku. Ja som iba chcela tiež k tomu jazyku, že vlastne nevedieť angličtinu v dnešných dňoch je veľmi obmedzujúce, pretože články sú po anglicky, pretože keď prídete do nejakého výskumného strediska, ľudia sa tam rozprávajú po anglicky, keďže sú tam ľudia z rôznych kútov sveta. A nevedieť po anglicky je také veľmi potom náročné s tými ľuďmi komunikovať. A práve trénovanie si toho už počas strednej školy je veľmi kľúčové. Môžem to povedať zo svojej skúsenosti, pretože vďaka tomu, že som chodila na kurzy angličtiny naviac ku proste strednej škole, mi dalo veľa. A teraz to iba zužitkujem na výške, keď vlastne pracujem vlastne už teraz na mojej diplomovej práci s mojou vedúcou, ktorá je pôvodom Ukrajinka a žije v Taliansku. Takže je to také silne medzinárodné a vlastne bola som aj pracovať v synchrotrone, kde sú ľudia z rôznych častí sveta a tam je tá angličtina naozaj dôležitá.
Ešte poslednú maličkosť k jazykom. Neobmedzoval by som sa vyhrať na tú angličtinu. Špecificky viem povedať, že napríklad v mojom poli v nejakej tej chémii máte veľa článkov do nejakých 70 rokov, na ktoré sa musíte odvolávať a sú často v nemčine, čo sa týka kryštalografie, alebo viem, že a to je prípad veľkej väčšiny fyzikálnych vied, sú veľmi dobré články v ruštine, ktoré často nie sú preložené a často sú to doslova neobjavené perly. Takže aj znalosť takých jazykov, akože ruština, nemčina vám môže byť veľmi užitočná, ako povedal Danka, angličtina sa považuje za nejaký taký istý zlatý štandard.
Ja by som ešte pridal takú vtipnú historku z Medzinárodnej olympiády, kde bol tým vlastne 10 Rusov a z tých 10 Rusov vedel po anglicky len jeden. A naozaj bolo vidno, ako strašne limitujúce pre nich to je, lebo vlastne neboli sa schopní v princípe skoro s nikým rozprávať. A ako som vravel, práve tá komunikácia je tá najpodstatnejšia vec na vlastne vedeckej práci.
Jo, tak teraz možno by sme mohli, keďže už sa blížime pomaly 2 hodinám, tak pomaly budeme končiť a preto by sme ešte mohli odpovedať na otázky, ktoré tu máme. Viem teda o otázkach, tak začneme tou zrovna tou dlhou. Ona je to opäť taká ako otázka na širokú tému, ale tak poprosím vás nejako stručne mi odpovedať. Lze začít chodiť na vysokou školu už v posledním ročníku střední školy, nebo spíš, jestli má zmysl o to usilovat? Tak trúfa si hneď na toto niekto odpovedať?
Ja skúšam, myslím, že z legislatívne právneho rámca na Slovensku to určite možné nie je, lebo ak sa mi dobre marí, nie som právnik, ale ak sa mi dobre marí, človek musí mať zloženú maturitnú skúšku na to, aby ho dobrali na vysokú školu a ukončené vzdelanie.
Asi to nejde oficiálne, ale keď si zaplatíš mimoriadne štúdium, tak by to asi malo byť možné, pretože v Česku to možné je a poznám viacero ľudí, ktorí takto išli na vysokú školu, povedzme v maturitnom ročníku. Takže v Česku to možné je, ak si zaplatíte nejak to mimoriadne štúdium. A poznám takých ľudí, ktorí sa nudili na strednej škole, pretože už si povedali, že súťaže nie sú pre nich a respektíve boli pre nich, ale už boli takí možno znudení tými súťažami a povedali si, chcem už viac, chcem už sa venovať tej, možno tomu viac štúdiu, možno skôr tej vede, tak išli už na vysokú školu. Osobne si ale myslím, že je to trochu ponáhľanie sa a že je možno lepšie užiť si ten čas a naozaj proste zužitkovať to, že máte možnosti, môžete byť proste, áno, je pekné osamostatniť sa, ale ako Daniel vravel už predtým, prináša to proste problémy. Prináša to problémy s tým, že musíte spravovať svoje výdavky, musíte riešiť bývanie, musíte riešiť stravu, musíte riešiť, povedzme, pranie a takéto srandy, ktoré na strednej riešiť nemusíte, máte veľa času popri strednej robiť veľa iných zaujímavých vecí a myslím si, že je trošku škoda to všetko preskočiť aj na výšku, pretože na výšku budete mať ešte dosť času, tu si ešte užijete a takisto potom prípadnú vedeckú kariéru alebo prípadnú prácu vo firmách. Toho budete mať ešte celkom dosť, ešte vás čaká veľa rokov toho. A myslím si, že nemá zmysel sa nikam ponáhľať s tým štúdiom. Ale môže to byť pre niekoho cesta.
Jako to, co dělají moji kamarádi, chytřejší, jo, je to, že prostě dělají třeba ten maturitní ročník a část toho prváku zároveň. A je to prostě, jako pro mě to není, je to hrozně brutální, jo. A jakože nikdy bych se do toho nepustil a je to prostě hodně složitý, ale možná jako pokud jste jako fakt hodně chytří, tak to pro vás třeba je, ale jako asi to fakt hodně stojí za promyšlenou. No.
Ja si hlavne myslím, že ty si to dobre povedal, že pokud ste hodne chytší. Ja by som práve povedal, že pri tomto sa dosť dostávam k tomu, a špeciálne tá vysoká škola hlavne zo začiatku je o nejakých vedomostiach. Človek tam priebežne získava nejaké skilly, ale väčšinou tam je menej času a špeciálne na školách, ako je matfis. Tam je veľmi málo času na nejaký sebarozvoj z hľadiska soft skills, nejakej kariéry, networkingu. Väčšinou tam proste je to o tvrdej práci, hlavne tie prvé ročníky, hlavne to bakalárske štúdium. A myslím si, že toto je práve to, čo vám ujde a ako vaši spolužiaci alebo rovesníci môžu ten maturitný ročník využiť práve na toto, pretože vždy je niečo, kde ste ešte neboli. Ja neviem, že máte ísť na každú súťaž, ale ak ste boli na nejakých fyzikálnych, môžete ísť napríklad na debatnú súťaž, ktorá možno takto znie ako niečo pre nás fyzikov nepodstatné, ale v skutočnosti je to proste presne naopak. Môže to byť veľmi užitočné. Je škoda pripraviť sa o túto možnosť tým, že pôjdete už skôr na univerzitu. Tá univerzita vás počká a tým, že to predbehnete, tak môžete stratiť čas, ktorý už proste nezískate. Tak ako povedala Danka, tam už sú potom ďalšie povinnosti, ten čas proste už nezískate. A to voľno, ktoré máte, určite budete, alebo teda aspoň ja by som od toho určite odhováral, spolupracovať s univerzitou stále môžete, napríklad na nejakých vedeckých projektoch, bez toho, aby ste museli byť študentmi zapísaní, aby ste museli chodiť na tie prednášky. Ak veľmi vás to zaujíma, tak stále si tie prednášky môžete pomocou rôznych skript proste načítať, bez toho, aby ste museli vyvinúť ten čas chodiť tam, riešiť skúšky a podobné veci. Je to cesta, ale ja by som od toho výrazne odhováral.
Jednej veci som sa ešte chcel dotknúť, viem, že na Slovensku sa to určite dá, že podľa vysokoškolského zákona sú prednášky verejné. Takže vy v zásade môžete chodiť na prednášky, aj keď neštudujete na tej vysokej škole. Zaujíma vás jeden predmet, chcete tam chodiť, tak môžete chodiť na prednášky, môžete sa dohodnúť s vyučujúcim, ale v zásade, ako Daniel povedal, tiež by som od toho silne odhováral a môj osobný názor je ten, že ten posledný rok sa určite dá využiť lepšie ako tým, že sa budete pokúšať robiť posledný ročník strednej školy, prvý ročník vysokej školy. Presne tak, ako Dano spomínal, či už ak vás nebavia súťaže, tak môžete sa venovať nejakým soft skillom, jazykom, prezentačným schopnostiam, alebo môžete spolupracovať s univerzitou aj na nejakých výskumných projektoch, môžete mať vlastný projekt, ktorým ani nemusíte ísť na projektovú súťaž, ale môže to byť neskôr začiatok vašej bakalárky. Ale v zásade, ako tu myslím, všetci sme sa shodli na tom, že asi to, akože niekto sa možno tým bude identifikovať, takže že áno, chcel by, ale v zásade tiež by som o tom povedal.
Veronika, neviem, či si chcela niečo ešte dodať, alebo sa mi to zdalo?
Spíš se ti to zdálo, ale tak můžu k tomu něco říct. Já jsem znala taky jednoho kamaráda, který, myslím, vlastně studoval právě na matfizu jeden ročník během středoškolského studia. A nevím, řekla bych, že je to hodně náročné i třeba pro ty lidi, co jsou jako dost dobří v tom, prostě na té střední škole a mají pocit, že se nudí, tak potom to fakt může být jako velký zápřah. A zároveň souhlasím prostě s tím, že je spousta jiných věcí, které můžete dělat. A nejen třeba ty soft skills, ale prostě existuje tu na různých kurzů naučit se nějaké programování nebo přesně nějaký projekt a podobně. na co už pak většinou není čas při tom studiu, což můžu potvrdit. Nebo se zlepšovat v jazycích a podobně. Myslím si, že je spousta věcí, které za to stojí.
Áno, určite. Ja by som to možno ešte aj tak frázoval, že toto sa dosť týka vlastne aj takého vedieť sa vlastne seba motivovať, zároveň pracovať proste aj s tým time managementom a špeciálne, keď možno to príliš proste skipnete ten jeden ročník a posuniete sa priamo ako na vysokú školu. Ja si myslím, že tam môže byť aj také, že ako hrozí nejaké vyhorenie, pretože tá vysoká škola nie je o tom, čo možno očakávate. Pokiaľ vás baví iba proste chodiť na prednášky a robiť skúšky, tak áno, môžete byť väčšiný študent, ale toto väčšinou nie je proste cesta. A ja by som sa trochu obával, že pokiaľ to, čo robíte na pokiaľ vám tá stredná, a nevrajím, že teraz priamo sedenie v lavici a učenie sa na strednej, že pokiaľ vám, ale všetky tie ostatné veci okolo toho, pokiaľ vám nedávajú zmysel, tak potom je problém, či naozaj máte ten správny cieľ a správne nastavený ten cieľ, čo chcete v živote robiť. Pretože pokiaľ je to len o tom, že tieto veci, tie súťaže, a nevrajím, že vás musia nutne baviť súťaže, ale všetky tie aktivity, ktoré sa dajú robiť popri strednej škole, už len keby zapájanie sa, neviem, do nejakých, v Čechách na Slovensku sú populárne študentské voľby a nejaké študentské parlamenty, aj toto môže byť pre vás cesta. Pokiaľ vás nič z tohto nezaujíma, tak si nie som istý, či už ste sa dostatočne našli na to, aby ste rovno išli na vysokú školu a povedali si, že proste už viem, čo idem robiť. Otázka je, či to nie je skôr problém toho, že ešte ste sa úplne nenašli. Nemusí to byť ten prípad, ale bol by som v tom naozaj veľmi opatrný. Tak tam by som to teda asi nechal, ale pravím, ako nechcem nás od toho nutne odhovoriť, ale vlastne trochu, hej. Takže tam by som to asi nechal a mám ešte jednu veľmi zaujímavú otázku. No a to by som sa najprv prečítam. Poskytuje české prostředí dostatek příležitostí pro tyto obory? Uvažujete o práci v zahraničí? Asi veľmi krátko sa vyjadríme aj k tomu, len by som teda ešte podotkol, že na našom YouTube kanáli nájdete vlastne video, kde sme sa rozprávali špeciálne o štúdiu vo vede, o práci vo vede a bavili sme sa veľmi podrobne na to, aké je to pracovať v zahraničí, či to má zmysel. No a aby sme to teda aj tu aspoň trochu ako spomenuli, tak väčšinou, pokiaľ chcete študovať vedu a byť vedcom, tak sa očakáva štúdium v zahraničí. Je už na vás, či si to zvolíte hneď na začiatku alebo nie a začnete bakalára, prípadne magisterské štúdium študovať tu, ale v nejakom momente, či už to bude PhD alebo potom po PhD postdoktoránske štúdium, ďakujem postdoc, tak sa nejak tak viac menej očakáva, že proste pôjdete do zahraničia. No. Ja by som, určite by sa k tomu mohol vyjadriť videám, pretože ty vlastne si v zahraničí, ale možno ešte predtým by som to preskočil a spýtal sa na to Marka, pretože ja viem, že Marku, ty si práve zvažoval toto, že kam pôjdeš študovať. Či v Čechách, alebo do zahraničia, tak možno ak tomu vieš viac povedať.
No.
Prepáč, pokojne aj tie myšlienky, s kterými ty jako bojuješ, jak ještě stále nejsi rozhodnutý, jo? Pokud je to tak nějak.
Já fakt jako nevím, jestli by moje rady jako teďka někomu pomohly, ale jakože já jsem z pragmatických důvodů prostě zamířil tady na matfiz, který je na Praze 8, protože moje jako střední škola je na Praze 7, tak jakože jsem ve své kariéře trošku posunu někam. No. Ale jako fakt nevím.
No ono to nemusí byť proste toto ako zlé rozhodnutie, špeciálne na začiatku, pretože treba si uvedomiť, že...
Jakože ono jako v tuto chvíli, jo, jít někam do zahraničí je trošku dobrodružo, že jo. Jestli nevíte, jestli tam někde uvízíte, nebo jako...
No, ja si myslím, že obecne... Tak. Ono obecne ako štúdium v zahraničí, myslím si, že ísť študovať do zahraničia, ale preto, aby som išiel do zahraničia a povedal, že študujem na lepšej škole ako napríklad v Čechách na Slovensku, pretože aj tu napríklad práve Karlovka, prípadne ČVUT sú kvalitné školy, kde sa dá dobre študovať a viete tu nájsť veľmi veľa kvalitných odborníkov, ktorí sú, a to prostredie je veľmi dobré na rozbeh. A nie vždy musí byť proste najsprávnejšia cesta hneď odísť proste za oceán alebo proste do Anglicka a začať tam. Niekedy vás to môže práve naopak sprzdiť. Ale určite, čo sa týka toho prostredia, pretože na to bola smerovaná tá otázka, myslím si, že opäť by som to stočil k tomu, že podľa mňa to prostredie tu nie je vyslovene zlé, ale je dobré a je viac menej žiaduce ísť skúsiť si to aj do zahraničia a práve potom to možno vedieť porovnať a možno potom sa rozhodnúť, čo je pre vás to lepšie a čo vám viacej vyhovuje, pretože ten štýl vedy je iný u nás, iný v zahraničí, iný úplne v Amerike alebo v Ázii. Neviem, či k tomu chcete niečo dodať, alebo to viacej nebudeme rozoberať.
No, ešte by som možno len skúsim formulovať tú myšlienku. Sú príležitosti aj v Česku, je ich určite viac ako na Slovensku, čo môžem povedať. Aj preto som vlastne tu. A myslím si, ako Daniel vravel, že treba si to vyskúšať a uvidíte, čo vás viac nadchne. Či možno viac v zahraničí nejaký prístup, alebo možno v Česku. A tiež myslím si, že tie príležitosti dosť závisia od konkrétneho poľa alebo oblasti, ktorú študujete, pretože niektoré veci sú už viac rozvinuté, niektoré ešte nie v Česku, ale stále je tu možno príležitosť prísť sem a po nejakom dlhšom možno štúdiu v zahraničí, po nejakých skúsenostiach v zahraničí začať tu vlastný výskum, pretože viem, že takí ľudia sú, čo študovali v zahraničí, získali grant, vrátili sa do Prahy a rozbehli si svoj vlastný, povedzme, tým, hoci aj na matfize. A to je niečo fakt zaujímavé a super, čo sa dá s tým spraviť. Ale ako jasné, nie je to pre každého.
Ak niekto chcete komu dodať, tak pokojne asi môžete. A ak nie, tak myslím, že tam, pokiaľ nemáme žiadne ďalšie otázky, tak myslím si, že tam by sme to mohli ukončiť, keďže už máme skoro dvojhodinovú diskusiu. A myslím, že tieto témy sú veľmi, veľmi obšírne, veľmi široké a proste dalo by sa veľmi veľa rozprávať o tých jednak našich skúsenostiach, jednak o možnostiach, ktoré máte. Aj preto vám teda vlastne v blízkej budúcnosti dnes, prípadne zajtra zverejníme na našich stránkach link a prípadne to dáme aj do komentáru k tomuto videu, link na tie vlastne nejaký dokument s tými linkami na tie súťaže a na tie možnosti, ktoré môžete mať počas tej strednej. Určite bude fajn, keď si to prebehnete, možno mnohé z nich poznáte, možno nie a nejaké nové tam objavíte. Asi by som to zhrnul tak, že to, čo môžete robiť na strednej, tých možností je strašne veľa. Je dobré si niečo vybrať, nie je dobré si vybrať všetky, pretože to nie je úplne v ľudských silách stihnúť. A preto je dobré venovať čas práve tomu rozhodovaniu a tomu výberu, ktoré sú pre vás tie vhodnejšie. Na to musíte prísť sami, nevieme vám to úplne povedať, je to naozaj každého dosť osobná vec a pre každého to môže byť špecifické na základe toho, čo ho zaujíma, toho, čo ho baví, to, v čom je dobrý. Na druhej strane, to, že netrafíte možno na prvý pokus tú správnu vašu aktivitu, tú vašu súťaž, tak to rozhodne nie je zlyhanie, netreba to tak brať. A práve naopak by som to bral ako veľmi dobrý obrazový mostík do budúcna. Tak a myslím, že tam by som to ukončil. Takže ja by som vám veľmi chcel poďakovať jednak za to, že ste to sledovali, že ste sa mi vydržali až teraz do tej 9. hodiny. No a ďakujem aj mojim kolegom, ktorí teda tu boli na tomto našom diskusnom paneli. Verím, že aj vás to bavilo, táto diskusia. Myslím si, že to môžeme niekedy v podobnom zložení určite zopakovať. Takže ďakujem jednak Veronike Hendrichovej.
Já taky děkuju. Doufám, že se vám bude dařit ve vašem rozhodování, co dělat se svým životem.
Ďakujem aj Daniele Pitnerovej.
Ďakujem.
Markovi Souzovi de Joda. Jozef Lipták. Ďakujeme. A last but not least, Branislav William Hakala. Ďakujem, Braňo.
Ďakujem za pozvanie a želám veľa šťastia.
Tak za mňa tiež veľa šťastia vo vašom štúdiu a určite nezabudnite nám napísať, keby ste mali ľubovoľné otázky. Takže ďakujem a dovidenia čo najskôr.